Josh is living in a prison hell at FCI Seagoville in Dallas, Texas, as his fellow inmates have complained of nearly fatal fights and medical neglect in recent months. Josh, 34, is serving a 151-month sentence for his CP conviction at FCI Seagoville in Dallas, Texas. The U.S. Sun can exclusively reveal Josh's fellow inmates have filed lawsuits against FCI Seagoville during his time there. On October 6, 2022, an inmate filed a complaint against the Texas federal prison, claiming staff released him back into the general public knowing he was in fear of his life. The inmate alleged of a July 27, 2022 incident. "I was assaulted with a lock by an inmate who was paid by other inmates to do the assaulting." The prisoner was seen by the medical team and placed in the special housing unit, which is a high-security area used for prisoners who pose a danger to others or are at risk if left in the general public. The complaint continued, "I informed staff I am in fear for my life and can't stay here. On September 16, I was released back to general public to only have my life threatened again." He is requesting monetary value for all the suffering that occurred by the gross negligence of the staff at this institution. The case was dismissed by the judge on December 19 because the inmate failed to respond to the court's questionnaire, despite being given ample time to do so. According to the Bureau of Federal Prisons, the inmate is now serving his sentence at Forest City Low FCI in Arkansas. A second inmate filed a complaint against the prison on October 25, 2022, for deliberate indifference to his mental and physical needs for failure to provide his prescribed medication for 31 days while he was confined in the special housing unit at the total mercy of BOP staff. He claims pharmacy records will show he did not receive his medication while in the special housing unit after he put in requests 5 days a week. He is requesting $760,000. Seagoville has not responded to the lawsuit and the case remains ongoing. The inmate continues to serve his sentence at Seagoville. The new lawsuits come after years of controversy at the prison. The all-male minimum security prison made national headlines in 2020 for the dubious distinction of having over 72% of its population infected with COVID. CNN reported in August 2020 that at least 3 inmates had died at that point, with one of the inmates' family members calling the facility a petri dish. There has also been a number of assaults inside the prison walls over the years. According to a release by the Department of Justice, John Hall, 27, an Aryan Brotherhood member and inmate at the facility, attacked and assaulted a fellow inmate because he believed he was gay. Hall repeatedly punched, kicked, and stomped on the victim's face with his shod feet, a dangerous weapon, while yelling a homophobic slur. The victim lost consciousness during the assault and suffered multiple lacerations to his face. The victim also sustained a fractured eye socket, lost a tooth, and fractured other teeth, the release read. In another instance, according to CBS, a correction officer was arrested for abusive sexual contact with an inmate at FCI Seagoville. The officer resigned and was sentenced to 1 year behind bars. In another instance, the Bureau of Prisons and the Seagoville warden at the time were sued by an inmate over the conditions within the facility in a civil rights action. In a complaint reviewed by the U.S. Sun, the inmate alleged that overcrowding exacerbated a number of conditions inmates faced inside the prison. The inmate, Jed Lineberry, said the overcrowding added to an increased exposure to a violent environment, among a slew of other allegations in the federal filing. His claims were ultimately dismissed since he had already been transferred to another facility. Josh was arrested and charged with possessing and receiving CP in April 2021. The trial lasted 2 weeks before the jury submitted a guilty verdict. He was sentenced to 151 months in federal prison in May. The U.S. Sun reported he was transferred from Washington County Jail to FCI Seagoville in June. Josh filed an appeal, blaming a coworker for the crimes. The appeal case remains ongoing. His release date on the Bureau of Federal Prisons website is August 22, 2032. His wife Anna, 34, has stood by her husband's side as she is raising their 7 children together in their hometown of Arkansas.